Woo! The 16-time champion of the world, Ric Flair, I think might be on his 16th bottle of vodka, because once again, he is going all out on a big rant. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Wrestling. My favourite time to be a wrestling fan, when Ric Flair is going batshit crazy. Just give the guy a microphone, give the guy some alcohol, and you have a recipe for disaster. He'll shoot, he'll run his mouth on anybody, and this time, his victim is Eric Bischoff, Easy E, and he's an easy victim for Ric Flair, because Ric Flair, some days he wakes up and he hates Eric Bischoff, some days he wakes up and he praises Eric Bischoff. Hell, I don't think Ric Flair truly knows how he feels about Eric Bischoff, but today, it is fair to say he doesn't like him. He referred to Eric Bischoff as a dipshit and says that his time in WCW was the worst. Then he went on a weird rant about politics and wrestling today without naming anybody. Basically just said today's wrestling sucks. It's so political and it doesn't matter if you're the best person in the company. It won't go anywhere because you need to be political. Now, I don't know if he's talking about Andrade or if he's talking about Charlotte. He probably is, because that's the only way he would come out and bash somebody or try to make excuses for somebody not getting over. So I'm going to assume that maybe he's not happy that his daughter didn't win at SummerSlam and he's talking about politics. Who knows what Ric Flair's talking about these days. But during an appearance on the past weekend podcast, Ric Flair commented on his time working with Eric Bischoff in WCW. That's what he had to say. Quote, hated it. The worst. Well, I was out of sight, out of mind. It didn't work. He kept trying to lose me. He thought if he could take me off TV and bury me, he forgot where I'd been for 20 years, 25 years before I met him. You don't lose 25 years of being a man. Woo! And all of a sudden, having some dipshit try and put you in the back of the pack. He beat my brains out, though. That was a big-time loss of self-confidence, period, in my life. End of quote. So, I mean, Ric Flair basically blaming Bischoff here for him having that run in the 90s that absolutely sucked. Even when he first returned to WWE in the early 2000s, he wasn't doing much there either. Ric Flair, yeah, I mean, he just got old. He did lose confidence. Nothing really worked. His promos were shit. His in-ring work was shit. I remember when Ric Flair came to WWE in 2001, he was awful. Or was it early 2002, late 2001? But he was bad. Ric Flair was not fucking good back then. It took him a while until he got back into Evolution to find his groove. You look at him in WCW in the late 90s, again, he didn't feel like a main eventer. He just felt like somebody who was there in the card, drowning in water, drowning in shallow water. He was not going anywhere. But he blames Bischoff on this, saying that Bischoff was a dipshit who tried to put him to the back of the pack. Now, yeah, maybe Bischoff kind of did bury the Four Horsemen, but I don't think the Four Horsemen were going to work. You had one dominant stable in WCW, and it was the NWO. The Four Horsemen, it just seemed outdated. It did. It just didn't really belong in the late 90s when wrestling was trying to go cool and hip-hop. I mean, you look at the NWO. You've got Nash and Hall, albeit, yeah, Hogan's about as cool as fucking a fire in an orphanage, but still, right, he was sitting beside two cool guys, and at least he looked the part. You know, he dressed up in the black, and Hulk Hogan looked cool when he was in the NWO, but I mean, the Four Horsemen never looked cool. The Four Horsemen were just four guys. I mean, Ric Flair carried them. It was Ric Flair and three dudes for the 80s and 70s. That's all it was. There was nothing special about the Four Horsemen. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that Eric Bischoff decided that he didn't want to push them, or he didn't treat them the same way he treated the NWO, because they're clearly not the NWO. So, I mean, whatever. Flair then also discussed politics and wrestling. He says, when I got in the business, you were either good or you were bad. And if you were bad and they don't like you, they beat you up really. Beat you up right in the ring if they could. Now it's so political, it's awful. Jesus, it used to be when you enjoyed it the most, and when I enjoyed it the most is when you were there, because you were that much better than the next guy or woman with it. Now you can be better than anybody, but it's sad. But you either accept it or you don't be part of it. I'd rather be part of it and accept it. I don't talk about it. I'm not talking about any individuals. I'm just addressing the reality of our business now. It's very political, end of quote. What the hell was that, man? How do you decipher that? What is Ric Flair talking about? What is he talking about? Now it's so political. It's awful. Jesus, it used to be when you enjoyed it the most, and when I enjoyed it the most, it is where you were there because you were better and much better than the next guy or woman with it. Now you can be better than anybody, but it's all sad. It's you. But what the fuck is he talking about? Now you can be better than anybody, but it's sad. Well, what is Ric Flair? I think Ric Flair's trying to suggest that it doesn't matter if you're the best man today, because unless you politic, then you ain't going anywhere. I don't know if that's what Ric Flair's talking about. I mean, I actually think you could disagree. I think you could make a case it was a lot more political back in Flair's day. Yeah, he's making out as if politics didn't exist in his day, and that it exists now. Yeah, he's basically saying that Eric Bischoff buried him and buried the Four Horsemen. So in his first statement, he's kind of saying that politics buried him in WCW, but then he's coming out and saying there is no politics back in the day, and politics today are ruining wrestling. I mean, what is Ric Flair talking about? Ric Flair, son, what are you doing? We need one more match. Ric Flair, one more match. Brain cells on a pole match. How about it? Ric Flair versus, I don't know, give me somebody else delusional today in wrestling. Ric Flair versus Mick Foley. Ric Flair versus the Mixter. Brain cells on a pole match. I'd pay to see it, guys. I would. Anyway, that's it. Ric Flair ranting, talking about politics, then not talking about politics, talking about how politics didn't exist back in the day, but then talks about how Eric Bischoff purposely buried him, which I guess is politics because he wouldn't kiss his ass. So, yeah, Ric Flair, I mean, who knows? Guy's talking shite. Bit of a mess, but there he goes. At least it's entertaining. When Ric Flair speaks, it's entertaining. That's it, guys. Catch you in the next one. Until then, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.